the one we have in Kenjin Dam in Nigeria. Also, water serves or provides medium for transportation on water via canoe, ships, and the likes. Also, conservation of water, you preserve natural resources like fish and other aquatic animals. Fishes and other aquatic animals are preserved when we also preserve our water. Then we'll be talking about conservation of soil. Soil conservation ensures continuous source of plant nutrients. When the soil is conserved, then our plants are sure to always have a place to grow. Also, conservation of soil provides reservoir of water for soil organisms. Soil organisms can get their water through the soil. Then, conservation of water provides medium for plant growth. Plants are established in the soil, so they will have a place to grow from. Then, it provides source of raw materials for some industry, like clay. Clay is a type of soil. So, industries can use that for their manufacturing activity. Then, conservation of soil also ensures preservation of soil fertility. When we don't misuse the soil, then we preserve the fertility, which is in turn useful for the various plants growing on the soil. Conservation of mineral resources. The conservation of mineral resources ensures continuous source of energy. For instance, petroleum products that are used as liquid fuel are petrol, kerosene, and the rest. So when we preserve our natural resources, we are sure to have continuous source of energy. Then, it also provides source of raw materials for industries. For instance, plastics and pharmaceuticals. Coal is also used in some chemical industry. So when we preserve these natural resources, raw materials will be available for industries to work with. Then, common salt is a source of food for seasoning. From our natural resources too, common salt is a natural resource which we use in our food seasoning. Then, conservation of mineral resources provides source of foreign exchange. We can exchange our natural resources with other countries. What are the ways of ensuring conservation of nature and natural resources? We want to look at the ways to ensure the conservation of our nature and natural resources. And the first way is the establishment of agencies responsible for conservation. Human beings, sorry to say, are unruly. Some people are just untamed. If there are no disciplinary measures put in place, then we will not conserve anything. Nothing will be conserved, because some people are selfish, me, I, and myself. So we have to put in place agencies that are responsible for conservation. And for instance, we have the forestry department in the state and federal ministries of agriculture and natural resources to make sure that our natural resources are conserved. Also, the Nigerian Conservation Foundation, founded in 1982, is a voluntary organization concerned with disappearance of wildlife and other natural resources. Some people just say, I like to eat bush meat is my favorite, and they go into the bush, kill the meat every day. If everybody does that, then before we close our eyes, we discover that you get to the forest and you won't find any animal there. So there is need for these agencies to put a check on the way people enter forests, cut down trees, and capture wildlife. Also, we have the Federal Environmental Protection Agency, that's FEPA, is concerned with preservation of wildlife, forestry resources, and protection with conservation of environments under the International Whaling Commission, the IWC. Also, we have Game and Park Reserve Authority for protection of wildlife from destruction in their natural environment for scientific, aesthetic, recreational, and educational reasons. We have students, pupils, and even higher institution students go to various places for educational purposes. Okay, biology students, they want to visit a particular game reserve or park to be able to see what they have learned in class, to practicalize and really see, okay, this is kangaroo, okay, we can see this, we can see that. So if these authorities are not in place, sorry, there will be nothing for anybody to research on. So that is the reason why there is need for the establishment of agencies that are responsible for conservation. Then there is creation of afforestation, where plant species are restored by planting them. Though some state governments, even the federal government of Nigeria, puts in place a particular policy that when you cut a tree for timber cutters, make sure you replant some other ones to replace them. If not, if we cut down 20 trees per day before you, and we are not replacing them, there will be time that we will need those trees and they will not be there. So that is afforestation. When you deforest by cutting down trees, then you also plant back some. Then we have the River Basin Development Authority. These are concerned with preservation of water, basically. Then we have the State Environmental Protection Agency, that is SEPA. That's another agency responsible for conservation. Another way by which we can ensure conservation of natural resources is by conservation laws or legislation. Governments make laws, edicts and decrees to regulate the felling of trees, killing of game animals, controlling of bush burning, exploration of minerals, hunting and capturing of wild animals through shooting, licenses, capture of female and immature individuals. There are some places that you cannot shoot. There are some places that you cannot just start to burn bush and say you want to catch some animals. No. There are some places that you cannot say you want to fish. There are some waters it is illegal for you to do that. If you are caught, you'll be prosecuted. So if such things, such laws are not put in place, then we won't have anything at all to say we are preserving or in the natural environment. So these laws are put in place so that everybody, it will be beneficial for everybody. Then African Convention for the Conservation of Nature and Natural Resources, that's the Algiers 1968, protects all classes of animals. You know, gradually we have animals getting extinct in the forest. You get this, they say, oh, we used to, I was in a game reserve some time ago, and they say, oh, we used to have elephants here, but they have migrated to Cameroon and something like that. Imagine that, because people keep killing them. Sometimes just discover that, oh, the forest guard discovered that, oh, we found, they trace some activities of some people to a particular place and killing some particular animals. Oh, this particular animal is so sweet when you get them, but they are not legal. When you do that and you are caught, you'll be prosecuted. Then government also sets standards of pollution control to protect land, water, air resources from certain level of pollution from industries, cars and power plants. That's also a way of conserving our natural environment. Another way is conservation education. When we educate people, this is the reason why we have to do a joint work to preserve our environment. The populace is informed about the need to conserve the natural resources and the consequences of exterminating such resources as trees, games, and minerals. By the time we cut down trees without planting others, it exposes the houses around to the effect of wind. When we have every wind, there is the part of the trees that absorb some of this wind, some of the strong wind, so it doesn't come to affect your house. But by the time you cut down all the trees around in the name of getting timber and furniture, then even the furniture you are building is in trouble. So when people get to understand that, okay, this is the reason why we are doing this, they get educated about it, then we preserve our natural environment. Conservation education is carried out through tree planting campaigns against bush burning. We see state governors moving around with this campaign, okay, he also plants a tree, then encourages everybody, make sure you plant a tree. So those campaigns are put in place against indiscriminate felling of trees and uncontrolled killing, that is poaching of animals, and excessive exploration of mineral resources. Then the erection of parks and reserves to make sure that the natural environment is conserved. There are parks and reserves, game reserves, that are erected so as to encroach a particular area and say, okay, this particular acre of land, this 500 acres of land, nobody should come here. The government is the owner, and we want to keep everything that has been here naturally. The application of the conservation laws has led to the establishment of games and forest reserve and national parks and gardens. Forest reserve include plantations, that is teak plantation and natural forest. For instance, you have the Olokemeji forest game reserve in Oyo State. Then we have the Kenji and Yankari game reserve. There are also examples of game reserve that you can't go there to say, oh, I saw a beautiful monkey, I want to bring it up. It's not possible, because it's a government-owned establishment and people go there just to see, not to touch, to kill or do anything with those animals. Then we have natural parks where plants and animals are preserved in their natural environment.